where it talks about if just 2 or 3 will agree, the Lord will do it. We'll come together and we'll do it. Now, I've got my Greek scholar over here. He's a real Greek. And, but that word agree there doesn't mean just shaking hands, gather with me, agree with me, on this thing, brother, or that's not what he's talking about. The same word is the word we derive our English word symphony from. And 2 or 3 aren't going to make a symphony, but they can begin something that will be a huge symphony. But it requires, one thing it requires is years and years of practicing their instrument so that they can play with 1 or 2 other people. Learn to play with one other, then 2, then more, and then you learn your section and all that. You can grow into something, but it starts with that years of personal devotion, personal practice, and all, and then 1 or 2 more and building upon that. And that can only be done by the way we're called to do church. But 2 or 3 people can make one of the most powerful congregations, bodies there is on the planet. If they come into that, become that symphony as just 2 or 3 with that level of unity and learning to function together, they're a power team that no power in hell can stop. And I think one of the things God's called us to do is find those other 2 or 3 people, or the other person we're supposed to connect with. Now, I shared with you how Thursday on how Barnabas had to go and get Paul before either one of them could be promoted to their own ultimate calling. There are divine relationships. There are divine connections we have to make and link together with before we can go to the next level very often. In my case, in my history, some of the people that meant the most to me in my life, I didn't even like at first. A couple of them I very much disliked. Lord, show me. I need this person. Now, one of the things that I think is most dividing the body of Christ is we're always trying to be with like-minded people. I'm just asking you to consider that. It's really, we would like to stay in our comfort zone. But the unity that allows this body to live, it's not a unity of conformity. I'd be in really bad shape if all my organs start trying to be the heart and do what the heart does. No, the unity that makes this body work is a unity of diversity. Respecting our own parts, respecting the differences, the uniqueness. And I think this is absolutely required if we're going to know our Creator and walk with God. He so loves diversity. Look at how different He made every one of us. They say every snowflake is different. But He obviously loves diversity. And His unity is a unity of diversity, not a unity of conformity. And it's going to take sacrifice. I think I'm one of the most effective marriage counselors I've ever heard of. Because I tell people the truth. I know Susie, when she and Cameron would get married, they wanted me to marry them. I said, okay. And I explained to them right up front. Anybody I ever married or did marriage counseling with, they'll tell you, I told them, this relationship is ordained in heaven. It can be one of the most powerful relationships on earth if you both come into the unity you're called to. But the Lord has ordained this from eternity to kill you both. It's a divine trap, and you're going to die. You are going to die. There's no way you can survive this without dying. Now, I think we'd do a lot better to tell people that when they come to the church. Listen, this is a quarry where all the rough edges are being worked on it. You know, and we keep wanting to have this ideal. You know, human idealism is one of the biggest enemies of revelation. And we have this ideal of what the church is supposed to be, and no church could ever measure up to that. It's not supposed to. And I know a lot of people today say, well, I'm going to come back to the church when it gets its act together. I say, you'll never find it. It'll be so far down the road, you'll never catch it. Because it's the process we go through to become what we're called to be, that we all need to become what we're called to be. And if you can stay in unity, you're going to grow in love, you're going to grow in patience, you're going to grow in all these other things that are required for us to be what we're called to be. And you try to run from that, it is not going to work. You can get all the revelation in the world, have all knowledge, everything else. But guess what? It can count for nothing. It can count for nothing. Now, all that was free. But I do want to continue to make the point, we've really got to understand diversity. We've really got to understand how much we need the distinctions and the differences in the body of Christ. You know, racism is one of the most deadly problems in the world today. It's going to get worse. You know, when Jesus was asked about the signs of the end of the age, one of the things he said, nation would rise against nation, and that word there, Greek word, wasn't it, Nick? It was ethnos. Means ethnic. He wasn't talking about countries fighting each other. He's talking about ethnic conflict. Well, the church is supposed to be the antithesis to that, where we're a house of prayer for all ethnos. Yes. Same name, same word, all ethnic groups, where we should so love uniqueness and differences that when we meet someone who is different from us, we light up. We don't get fearful, or we don't start trying to measure ourselves against them, that we're better than them or anything. We wouldn't do that. But where we look at, when we meet someone who's really different from us, where here's somebody I can learn from. They're seeing things I don't see. That's why Paul didn't say, I have the mind of Christ. He said, we have the mind of Christ. It takes all of us together. I believe when he made man in his image, he wasn't talking about us having arms and legs like him. He made mankind in his image, and it takes all of mankind and all of its unique diversity to really represent who he is. I'm just saying. Did Jesus ever do any work the same way twice? I haven't found where he did anything the same way twice. Why do we keep trying to get these formulas and principles? And it's going to work this way. We think if we say the magic words, God will do it. You know what that is? It's witchcraft. It's counterfeit spiritual authority. No, he responds when we have faith in a person, him. And it's personal. And true faith is not faith in an outcome, it's faith in a person. So now, there are a lot of outcomes I want. I think it's right to ask for them, get specific. But really, we're trying to see him. True faith is simply seeing him in whom we believe. Who he is and where he sits. And the more clearly we can see him, the more we're going to believe. And so, how do we see what he's doing? you remember anything I shared Thursday morning, you know, where Jesus, he only did what he saw the Father do. Everyone he prayed to get healed got healed. Every single one. You know, we can walk in that level of healing. Now, it wouldn't mean for most of us, we wouldn't be praying for everybody we're praying for. I'm just saying. Hey, Jesus stepped over how many people at that pool of Siloam? He could have healed. He had the power to heal. He just heals one person because that's all the Father showed him to heal.